I like cooking all the time. Hey, and I get it, we're all busy. And simple food is honest food. And honestly, I'm hungry. So I want to eat now. So this pasta salad, super simple, and it ticks off all the boxes for me. So first things first, I'm gonna want to cook some pasta. This stuff is super cool. I love pasta salads that have a really thin noodle. And this noodle is made with a little bit of chili and a little bit of garlic, so you're already starting flavor already. So to cook the pasta, straighten it all up, give it a little twist in your hand, and then drop it in. Let it lay down there, let it cook a little bit. Okay, so this dressing, all right, just think of it as like a Caesar dressing, but it's not super thick. It's more of a vinaigrette style. So this story starts with a lot of garlic. And I like to put the garlic on the microplane. You get maximum garlic flavor. Like, look at it. It's perfect for a dressing because it just demolishes the garlic and you get really good garlic flavor. Okay, garlic in, and then a little bit of Dijon mustard. That's classic in a Caesar dressing. It's gonna give you body. It's gonna give you some strength. It's got a chip on its shoulder, and it's really delicious and zingy. So get that in there. What else? Yo, vinegar. You always want a shot of vinegar, and here's a great tip. I start with everything except for the oil, and then finish with the oil. So, Dijon, a little bit of vinegar. I'm gonna use 2 types of acid. One, some red wine vinegar, because it's classic, and 2, because it's kind of like a Caesar dressing, a nice big shot of lemon juice. Awesome. Give it a little mix. And then this is a great part where you want to season it. So I love a ton of cracked pepper in my Caesar dressing, so don't be shy. Like 30 twists. Okay, we'll go 20. And then a nice big pinch of salt. The salt's just gonna get everything jumping off of that bowl and seasoning the pasta. Okay, cool. And then Parmesan cheese. Again, this dressing is kind of like a Caesar, but if you put a lot of Parmesan in it, it gets really nice and thick. So don't be shy on the parm. Parmesan cheese like that on the microplane is really nice and fluffy and adds a lot of salt and texture to the dressing. Tons of cheese. Like I'm a freak cheese. Cheese freak? That's better. Okay, so once everything's in, and you got it nice and seasoned, then you can start with the oil. And normally for Caesar dressing, you'd add some eggs and stuff like that and take your time with the oil, but you don't have to. This one's really great because it's slightly broken and it clings to the noodle. So I like to use a nice neutral oil. Some people put olive oil in their Caesar dressings, but I find a canola oil or a grapeseed oil is a neutral flavor. And then all of the beautiful flavor in there is overwhelmed by a really strong oil. Sweet, that's it. I gotta check my pasta. This is a good tip too, when you're cooking pasta, walk over every once in a while and shake it off the tongs. You don't want it to stick together. Yeah, that's sweet. All right, so the dressing's made. It's so simple, but it's ridiculously delicious. That's explosive. So just a little bit of veg in this pasta salad. Some cherry tomatoes, nice and plump and sweet, which really complements the dressing. Some shallots, some fresh parsley. Just got to get to work. Let's do this.
1, 2, 3, listen.
All right, here's a nice little tip. When the pasta's ready, you want to drain it. Now, most people drain it and then rinse it under cold water, but you're gonna release some of the starches, and you want the starch to make the pasta salad really nice and thick and tasty. When the pasta's really nice and hot, just toss it like this, and then you wanna go right in to that hot dressing, and it just drinks up all of the beautiful flavor in there, and then really mix it together. And honestly, as soon as the warm pasta hits that garlic, it kind of starts to cook the garlic, and that garlic jumps up out of that sauce. It smells so good, and then it starts to slightly melt the Parmesan cheese. That's delicious. All right, so when I put the shallots in there, I like to crunch it up in my hands a little bit and just flake it down in there, and then cherry tomatoes can go in. You don't have to cook the tomatoes or the onions because the pasta is a little bit warm. It'll just like to slightly soften the onion and then finish it with a bit of fresh parsley. It smells so good. This pasta salad reminds me of my mom. She makes it all the time. This is my version of it, but every time she makes it and I open up her fridge door and there's a bowl of this pasta, I just freak out and look at it. Full of flavor, full of texture, full of color, and it's quick. It's super simple. It literally takes as long as it does to boil the pasta and you're finished. All right, I like to let it cool for just a little bit before I plate it, and then I like to drag her through the garden. So I got about 4 minutes. I'll be right back. Kitty? The cat! The cat! Sorry, I'm babysitting the neighbor's cat. All right, let's plate this thing up. Super simple, and only a few garnishes. So get a nice big bowl. It's kind of like a family style thing, and I like to just stack it up in the middle. The great thing about it is all the cherry tomatoes and all those little bits are stuck to the bowl. Get that in right at the end. And because this salad reminds me of my mom, and it's such like a fresh springtimey thing, I put some fresh peas in it. These are really nice, a good pop of color. And plus the pasta is super intense. Like that dressing is explosive. So you get to a little shot of pea, it kind of cools things out. And for a bit more tartness, a few capers. And then I'm a sucker for cheese, so just finish it with a bit of parm. That makes me so ridiculously happy. It's super simple, like a quick noodle, and that's a really good tip. Get the noodle in, it's gonna cook for about 7 minutes, and then you have time to make a simple dressing. Dijon, garlic, red vinegar, salt, black pepper, cheese, a little bit of oil, some lemon juice, and look at that. Delicious, great for a quick snack, or great for any time. Awesome. And I get to eat it. So good. It's huge. It's so delicious. And then some simple fresh garnishes, like a bright burst of flavor from the tomatoes, the cheese, the onions give it a little bit of kick, and then those peas are really refreshing and sweet. That is full of balance, full of love, and full of color. All right, you know the deal. You get the recipe, click the link. If you want to see the musical inspiration for this, click the link. Always like and subscribe if you want to see future delicious content. All right, where's that cat?